All right, I think it's working. What is that thing we say on the TikTok? Took the drugs and the drugs are working. Let me bump up the font, pump up the jam. There we go. Abide by our community guidelines. Yeah, just don't be a jerk. How's that? How's that, huh? So good morning. Actually, good afternoon. It's technically afternoon right now, even by a few seconds, but I'm here. There we go. Hey, Kelly Smith. Hopefully you can see and hear me. YouTube Live, checking it off the list, getting it done. Cheryl Siegel, nice to see you as well. Folks who have tuned in and know that the schedule is working. Okay, cool. Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate it. Where's my big thing of chapstick? There we go. Yay, Mama Koala. Thank you. Hear and see. Yeah, good stuff. I just got out of the shower myself, so I'm just kind of getting myself kind of settled in. I got some bags of paperwork that I brought home from my mother's. I'm transitioning my schedule. Well, here, you know what? We can do this right now. You guys, is everybody actually? I feel like I should wait till Judy shows up. Okay, if Judy shows up, we're gonna do our habit trackers together. Okay, so keep an eye out for Judy. Whoa, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. My teacup was in the microwave. Don't let the Brits know that my teacup was in the microwave. So yeah, it is Monday, beginning of the week. It is the beginning of a month. It is okay. Let's check in on what we did last month. How did it work? Did it work out well? Do it again. If it didn't work out well, just learn from it. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to make decisions that we think are going to work and then they just don't. Get more comfortable with that. Decrease your emphasis on perfection and increase your emphasis on getting stuff done you want to get done. There we go. Okay, Melanie, I love it. Thank you for this. I pet sit and it's my last day. I need to start cleaning and packing up. I love it. I would love to keep you company while you do that, as would the folks here. If you need any help with that, if you have any questions, I really love to help answer questions because finding the answer to a question provides clarity. You know, when people say to me, well, I don't know how to, I am so much more like well, how can we find that out? Well, I don't know if they still take returns. Well, let's find it out together. So questions are good. Here, questions are encouraged because other than that, it's just going to be me talking to my laptop here in my room. And while I can do that, I'd rather talk with people. Marietta, for example. Marietta from NJ, nice to see you. Marietta, I thought of you in the last many days because our crew was talking about the fact that Bruce, and I think of you with Bruce and the guy from that other band, Rage Against the Machine, and Al Di Meola and Dave Gibbs from the Gigolo Aunts or the Gigolo Ants were all playing on the same stage. And it was just, stars after stars after stars. Gina Mead, nice to see you. All right. For those of you who don't know me, there's a few people who know me. Melissa, nice to see you. Glad to be in good company. You are in good company here. If you are a kind-hearted, loving person who wants to help yourself and help others, you're in the right place. Marietta is celebrating 100% of our Christmas decorations are put away. Yay! Good for you. Good for you. Yes, Tom Morello. Thank you. I forgot about that. All right, Kat Roby has showed up, and you know when Kat Roby shows up, she's going to have a scheduled Beth Blinders list. She says, hey-o, everybody, scheduled Beth Blinders, not the ones from this morning. 1, deliver, or 0, deliver, lease, and key. Check. Notice there's a verb. Switch laundry. 2, yay, nothing too small. Fold and put away previous load. Yes, not just laundry. Let's chunk it down and get credit for all the steps that are included in the laundry. 3, tame 5 piles of office paperwork and mail. I love your use of the verb tame to calm it down, to make it more civilized. But also, if you've got 5 piles of mail or paperwork, you have already chunked it down to do pile 1, pile 2, pile 3. I love it. All right. Okay. All righty, Leslie. I love it. I'm using this live to calm my nervous system. Everybody, let's help Leslie calm her nervous system. I'm at work. Notice the difference between working around people and not, and figuring out how to work. How can I work around colleagues who are neither transparent nor productive? I'm writing down now. I highly recommend earbuds, even if you're not listening to anything, to kind of shut out the things you don't, and practice your own stuff. We are here. Yay. So we are here. And the ugly tears, there are no ugly tears, Marietta, but they can be good ones. They can be cathartic. So, all righty. Okay, Melanie has a question for later. And the neat thing is, Melanie, I can answer it now. And there's this TikTok live, excuse me, blurg. I'm always screwing that up. This YouTube live is being recorded. It is Monday, the 2nd of February. It's the one that's happening at noontime. So it's going to be right up there. As soon as YouTube does its processing, this will be here. So your question may help other people too. And you can always come back to listen to it. But I love that your brain popped up. Hey, I've got a question. Maybe not now while I'm packing this stuff up. I need to go through my mail. Okay. Yep. But figure out what to keep and file. All right. I love helping with this. I have mail right here in a bag from my mother's house. So let's practice together, shall we? So I say this: get something to write it down with. If you can't write down because you're packing or whatever, everybody writing down stuff. Leslie's going to do that. Destination decluttered mail. Destination, and sometimes it's not declutter, but destination, not losing my mind while working with people who annoy me. How can I do that? So what is your destination? I want to be able to be at work, being able to focus on what I need to do with a minimum of distractions, and change the people I can change, and the people I can't change, I try to minimize their annoyance. Okay. So calming down your nervous system can start with breathing down, slowing down, quieting down, and then picking up a pen to write some things down. Okay. So notice how important it is for your nervous system, because your nervous system will sometimes tell you, no, I can't. I'm so wound up. I can't do any of this. And then you don't do anything about it. And then you just delay some stuff that could be helpful, that could improve the next time you show up. Okay. So Melanie, let's talk about mail and paperwork. I will speak in the most general of terms, because I want you to think of these things as opposed to the specifics. I want you to pull back and notice that basically one of the reasons we keep paperwork is to prove something to somebody. This proves that I made money. This proves that I spent money. This proves that I paid the bill. This proves that I spent money, whatever. So what I would say, Melanie, is before you even start doing something, let's practice and just get clarity on the destination. So if I feel, first of all, getting clarity, who do I feel like I need to prove that I paid my telephone bill? Well, my mother doesn't care. Nobody cares except for really 3 camps. Me, having the paper, literally the receipts that says I paid this. Okay. The other one is the people at the oops, let me turn that down. The people at the telephone, the telephone thing, when they say, no, you didn't pay it. Oh, yes, I do. I have the receipt. I can prove it. And the third one is, and this is for anybody who is self-employed or writes off any things that you pay for on your taxes. Okay. So I ask of you, you may have certain habits of keeping paperwork that you haven't examined lately that are probably left over from the 80s, 90s, 2010s. and asking yourself, does this still, have I ever had to prove to somebody that I paid my phone bill? No. Do I still need to keep all of these phone bills? Okay. The answer could be yes. The answer could be no. Yay, Bonnie Esther, and yay, M4 Infuse. So get more curious about what you have kept so far and if you've actually used what you've kept. Okay. So we're talking about paperwork and now thinking of more kind of technical paperwork, checks and statements and things like that, right? This is one literally from 1994. Just saying that my that unearthed itself at my mother's house. Do I still need to keep this to say your entire net pay has deposited in your bank account? Please review the current net pay distribution. Well, I might be curious to see how much my father got net paid in 1994. And oh, okay, he got paid and he took out some taxes. Do I need this now? No, I will tear this into little pieces and throw it away. Okay? So getting clarity on why you're doing what you're doing. And even if the answer is right now, I don't know why I keep these. I guess it's just habit. But saying, can I save this habit? Okay. And so what I do, I will give you a really quick thing. Okay, in M4 Infuse, I promise to get to the sentimental paperwork because that's a different thing. But just talking about kind of very like clinical paperwork, receipts and things like that. Okay. So receipts and things like that. The you have habits of the way that you have collected paper so far. I want you to make sure that what you're doing makes your life easier, not more difficult. Okay? Yep. And that's cool. I love body doubling. That's one of the reasons I show up is to be your body. I'll be your body double. That sounds like a song. So, thinking about what is the paperwork I get in the mail? What do I do with it? Kind of observe yourself. What do I do with it? And do I really need to save it? Have I ever had to go digging around back into paperwork that I've saved to look for something? Now, one of the things I want to offer to you is that your answer could be yes. I needed to prove I lived somewhere, and one of the things they told me to bring was a oil bill with my name and address on it, something like that. So your mileage may vary. Your answer to these questions may be different from mine. Regardless of your answer, I want you to ask those questions of yourself. Now, I came from, as I said, my mother here in 2026 and my dad saved this statement right here since 1994. My dad died in 2010. No, yeah, I'm doing the math. So this was like even 16 years older. Did he ever have to look at that? No. So I grew up saying, don't question saving the paper, just save the paper. Now I question, and I've come up with my own way of doing it, and it's easier. And what I do, so I'll just offer this to you, is I notice what mail comes in the mailbox. Our mail carrier just came. I have reduced the amount of paper that comes into our house because much of it we don't need. Some of it I still like to get. So I do not currently get any statements from the electric company, the oil bill people, what else? The phone. A lot of that we do electronically, even if we need to prove it to somebody that we spent that money because my husband and I both work from home. We can access that information, that paper proof, from the website of the places. So I feel okay when we do our taxes, just writing down the amounts that we spent every month and submitting it on a spreadsheet to our tax person. On the other hand, I will get my credit card statements in the mail. Now, I get our credit card statements in the mail because I prefer to go through our printed credit card statements with a ruler and a pen and just saying, yep, that looks, yep, that may, hey, wait a minute, that one's off. I did this the other day, and actually I will write this down. Check on Chase credit. Because as I did that, I discovered that somebody had sneakily gotten our credit card number and bought a coat that's more than my husband and I would ever buy with a coat. So it helps me to have that paper statement in front of me and review it like that. Could I do that on the internet? Yes, I could. I prefer to do it paper. So I do. So notice that I have a habit of doing things and it works. It's easy for me to find what I'm looking for. All of my paperwork is in one little expandable tote. I can easily find it. I can easily find what I'm looking for if I need it because it's separated out into those, statements, credit cards and electricity and utilities and all that. And once I've looked at it, I can easily put it away. So that is all of that kind of clinical, paperwork. Now, M4 Infuse says, paper of a different level, deeper, sentimental paperwork. I have my pre-K 4-year-olds work from school in a tote. It's hard to throw out my first and only baby. Yeah, okay. Here's where I want you to get more comfortable asking yourself questions and not being afraid for the answers. Okay? So I ask of you, and again, your answer will be different from mine. When you answer this question, everybody can play along at home. Write down your answers to yourself. Don't just keep it out here. And please, don't just write it in the comments here. Before you write it in the comments, get a notebook, M4 Infuse, open up the notebook to a clean page in the back of the book, and write down, it's hard to throw out this paperwork, and just ask yourself why. Okay? And then your answers will come up. Notice you're saying, well, it's from my first and only baby. My mother never saved our stuff. Okay, I know why. Write it down to yourself. Share it with yourself first. Okay, you've done it before with me on TikTok. Okay, so you know why you do it. And can we change how you feel about doing it so it's easier for you? Yes. See, I knew. And M4, no offense, I don't remember you from TikTok, but you are not the only person. And I say this in a good way. You are not alone if you are a person who grew up and your parents did not save any of your stuff. Yeah. So notice what you're trying to do. You remember way back in your past how it felt to be a little kid and not have any of your stuff saved. It felt like your parents didn't care about you, maybe. And what I recommend to you is notice that. Notice you're trying to make yourself feel better and not repeat the mistakes of your parents, but also notice that you saving all of this, if you're pre-K, can you imagine? Think of scalability. Okay, this is an okay amount right now, but if I do this for 12 grades and beyond, and I never throw anything away, that can also cause a different set of problems, which is lack of storage, which is, not feeling like you're doing it because you want to, but feeling like you have to. Now, this is what I like. This is what I think is a really cool solution to this. So I say this to you, knowing it right now, you are, as an adult, reacting to what's going on in 2026 to make up for something that happened when you were a kid. You have the opportunity now to do something different, to undo that in yourself, and to not have your kid just react to what you're doing, and teach yourself and your child about that it's okay to let go of stuff, that you don't have to save everything. And notice you're saying, I feels like I'm healing my inner child in a way, but through me saving his work, but I don't want the hoarding. And here's something really kind of interesting to me. And I'm kind of trusting that my mind and my mouth will say it in a way that makes sense. The funny thing is now this may be extra difficult because you have a better understanding of why your parents did what they did back then. Okay? So I offer to you, notice that this can be a couple of layers. that you're like, oh my God, I now get why my mother threw away this stuff because it gets to be too much. But what I offer to you is this, is to start to learn to sort and to save things, not everything, but to learn to cultivate, to learn to curate what you save. And this is another thing for those of us who had people throw away or give away our stuff kind of without our permission. We know how that feels and we don't like it. So, what I say is no matter how old your kids are, 4 to 44, if you have saved something for them, go through that stuff with them now and allow them to learn to make the decision of what they want to keep. But set the expectation of we are not keeping all of it. So you get to learn to choose which pieces of artwork that you did, even at 4 years old, are ones that you want to keep. Practice this with yourself and introduce this different way of thinking and living and being with your kiddo. So it becomes a fun thing to do, to maybe at the end of each semester or maybe at the end of the school year, you sit down and you pause and you look in the rearview mirror, you reflect on, remember you did this, or it's once a month and you get to keep the good ones to get your kiddo used to and yourself used to feeling okay with not keeping it all. Okay. So I hope that helps M4 Infuse. Okay. No, Melanie is saying my crap is piling up because the placement for them is not completed. Now that can be helpful. Hubby is supposed to be building me the shelves, but he is so busy. Okay, Melanie, I hear you and I get it. However, storing your stuff in a shelf, okay? Oh, I'm glad that helps M4. And the great thing is this is recorded. So even if this is kind of new to you now, you can always go back and re-listen to this. Okay? And so I want to offer to you, yes, and Melanie, it doesn't mean you, and here's a wonderful thing. Excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt. Yeah. Yes. 18 years of drawing and other gifts from for students will be the ultimate challenge to go through when I can get in the garage when it's warmer. Yeah. Obviously, number one is going to make sure that you feel your body feels okay. Declutter in the warm places right now. Wait until the weather gets nicer to go to the cold places. But I say this to everybody, okay? Storing your stuff is the step after decluttering, okay? So you are saying my crap is piling up because I can't put it in the right place because my husband is doing the shelves. But is everything that's piling up something you have gone through and consciously decided in the year of our Lord 2026 that you want to keep now? Or are you basing your decision on what needs to go on the shelves on the last time you looked at the stuff? Okay. So catch yourself. Decluttering always comes before storing. Sort before you store. Sorting what you have and deciding what you have will allow you to feel better about putting your stuff in a tote and saying, February 2026, all of this stuff I decided I want to be put on the shelves whenever the shelves are made. Okay. So there's an order of operations here that we often forget. We think we need the storage before, like, oh, I don't have any place to put it, but you need to decide what you want to keep in order to know if you need the shelves at all. Okay. So, yeah, notice that and get clarity on and declutter your stuff. And then you may not even need the shelves at all. You may not be worried about it. You have a job to do before your husband builds the shelves. And yours is deciding what you want. Right. Okay. So notice that. And notice, please, everybody. I would not say this if I did not realize it late in my life. It is so important to pay attention to the words you use to describe things. Because notice that, where is it? Right here. Melanie says, notice you're always thinking, you're thinking already ahead to when the weather's warmer, I'm going to go out to the garage, But oh geez, I have 18 years of drawings. Notice right there, that is a sign of overwhelm. Oh my God, I have so many drawings and other gifts from former students. And notice how you described going through that situation. The ultimate challenge, the ultimate challenge. If you think it's going to be an ultimate challenge, you have just told yourself that this is something big and challenging. Maybe it's not going to be that bad at all. It's going to be worse. When you think it's bad, it's going to be bad. When you think it's not going to be so bad, it isn't as bad. Okay. So catch yourself in how you describe things. All right. Now, Gina Mead is offering, with the way Gina has solved this, I have one small tote with one file folder for each year of my son's school memorabilia. 13 folders fitting into one thing like that. All right. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I mean, Melanie, trust me, I'm a shelf person, as you can see. If we didn't have shelves, everything would be piled on the floor. But what I'm saying is, notice we use the excuse of not having a way to store it to conveniently forget that we need to do some decluttering. And I will tell you this, as I have in the past year donated more storage items than in my entire life, because I don't need as much storage as I needed in these past years, because I am going through my heavy boxes and my boxes. Oh, this is heavy too. You know, I have donated so many boxes of my stuff because everything is getting into one, you know, I can put it all in one box. So I hope that helps. Now, Patty is saying, unfortunate timing. Exterminator due. Darling Dara left for college. Would usually leave the rooms for her to pick up when she comes back to visit. Trying to stick to just light pickup, and that's good enough. Yes. So notice that. Notice that you can be flexible about that. Gina is saying, my son is now 36 and he wants none of it. Yeah. It's funny because you think you're doing a good thing because you remember what it was like for somebody to save the stuff. Your kids are like, I don't even want it. So then, Gina, notice that you're not saving it for them anymore. You're saving it for you. And what are you going to do about it? So it's a really interesting way of thinking about stuff. And I find, and I will just share this with you. And what time is it? Oh, it's only 12:30, 12:28. We have plenty of time together. Beth, Destination Decluttering Life Coach. Doing this myself, I have found it so much easier to let go of a lot of sentimental clutter that I have heavily carried around with me for decades. And it feels good right now at this point of life to even open those boxes. Now, this big heavy one that I just popped open, that is the culmination of many other boxes of the stuff that I still want to either keep or go through. You know, here's something fun to just even share because I found it in these. I have saved my address books. Does that not look 80s? Look at this. It's my 80s address book. And then here's mine that has like kind of like this, you know, vintagey lady on it. And then there was this one. It says this address book is hexed. I don't know why, but it was at the time. And I was still living at my parents' house. I have this little one from Vegas. So that was probably when I went there from 2000 or so, September of 1998. South of the border, my sister and I, September of 96, you know? Yeah. Yeah. And Melanie is asking, how do you figure out what sentimental things to get rid of or not? Is there a way of curation? Yeah. Is there a question to ask yourself? There are a number of questions to ask yourself. So I look at this and I will say, okay. And I never asked before. I used to over save sentimental items because I thought it would be fun in the future to be able to look back on all this historical stuff and remind myself of the cool life I have. Okay. So I would ask myself, I would pick up the item as I will do right now in real time. I will notice what it is. Oh, funny. This is a little red address book. And I put a little, what do you call it? Like skull and crossbone. This address book is hexed. Why did I save this? I would say, I don't know, but my I don't know is more like a ... because it's not going to be the perfect answer. I think I saved this so that someday I could go through it and be reminded of the people that I was in touch with prior to the internet and prior to cell phones. So Maybe today is that day. There's nobody on that one. There's nobody on this one. Very funny. So here's one of a friend of mine who no longer lives there. I'm kind of not friends with her, but that's okay. So, oh, that's when she lived in that town and state. Oh, this is my other friend. That's her parents' address. I remember that. Oh, and then she moved to DC. This is really funny. This is somebody I went to college with, and that's the address I recently found for her on something else. Oh, there's a number. That was my dad's number at work. There's a blank page. Here's one with my friends who lived there. This is one when my friend was in college. So this is literally from like 1986 or something. Very funny. There's Colleen when she lived in Saginaw, Michigan. I don't even know what's happened to her. So notice what I'm doing right now. I saved this back in the 80s and 90s and 2010s and 20 whatevers so that I could do what I'm doing right now, is kind of walk down memory lane. Okay, I'm walking down memory lane. And the neat thing is I'm remembering the people. Oh, yeah, really funny. Michael Fox. So this is not Michael J. Fox. So I won't go through them all, but I'm already through the F's and I'm doing the thing. The reason I sent it, this is funny. I have my sister, her dorm room phone number. I don't even know if we had area codes back then. So I saved this little thing to go through it. When I go through this, after I get through it, I will be reminded of who's still in my life, who's not in my life, the places they lived. Will I save that? After going through it, probably not, because nobody else cares about this stuff as much as I do. And I don't want to burden somebody else by going through all my stuff, because I have been burdened going through somebody else's things. When I go through somebody else's things, do I keep some things I think are cool? Yes, but that takes time and energy. All right. So I would ask myself, Melanie, what is this? And not judgy. What is this? Why did I keep it? I kept it to look at someday. Well, is today someday? Yeah. Can I look at it? Yeah. Will I go through all of these together? No. But I will walk down memory lane, and then I'll probably throw this in the trash and feel okay with it. And if I don't feel okay about it, it doesn't take up much room. I'll see how I feel about it in another 5 years. But listen for your answers and trust how you feel about things. As I said, I've gone through many boxes and I still have a bunch of stuff I'm keeping, because I don't want to be, I still want to go through some of that stuff and prove to myself the cool life I had. All right. And Danielle is saying, I took a bunch of stuff out of my office closet. Most was sentimental. Didn't get rid of anything. Okay. And now I'm just putting it all back in. Okay, Danielle, why are you doing that, silly? Why are you doing that? Did you at least categorize it? I have gone through my sentimental stuff. And earlier this year, I think if you go past through the videos that I've done in the past year, you will hear me going through this stuff, because we had to move everything up from the basement almost a year ago. I initially started going through this stuff just by organizing it in chronological order. Here's my box from 1980s to 1990s. Here's my box of stuff from 2017. So notice how you didn't ask yourself the questions and listen for your answers. And that's okay. You got to feel ready in your body and in your mind and in your nervous system to do the sentimental. But if you don't feel ready to do it, don't just say ugh and be disappointed. Own the fact that you didn't feel ready to do it. Okay, don't beat yourself up. Also, you took a bunch of stuff out. Maybe you took out too much. That's one thing I notice for people who are recommending decluttering. Take everything out of oh my God, can you imagine taking everything out of your closet? I'd pull it all out. I'd get overwhelmed and I'd want to run screaming out of the house and not come back. So don't take everything out. Take one box, take one bag, change it. Danielle, we're here for another 25 minutes. You could go back to your office closet and take out one container of sentimental stuff, and you could go through it when I'm here with you. Okay? Yeah. Melanie, taking pictures of the sentimental steps takes up less room. That could be a step. Totally. Totally. I have done that. Yeah. I had a whole portfolio of pictures that I took, or pictures that I drew when I was in college. And Only recently. I had it from like 1998. Literally, like they're right there. See, I took pictures of them back in December, and then I was more easily able to get rid of the pictures themselves. So taking pictures of stuff can help. Will I take a picture of this? No. Will I take a picture of some stuff? Yeah. So, yeah, it's kind of the road to memory lane. And we drive down memory lane to remind ourselves of who we were. But as LHQ4 nostalgia of their childhood, or holding on to who I used to be when they were little. And I will say that's not an either or, that's a yes. Yes, and yes, I am saving on for them because I remember who they were when they were little, but I look back on when I was who I was when they were little, you know? So there's nothing wrong with reminding yourself of who you were and then comparing it to who you are and loving all versions of yourself. Okay? Yeah. Yeah, and okay, so Danielle, notice, please, just own it in a good way. I did not feel ready to take on the task of doing that. I did not feel ready. Crazily enough, I will share with you Saturday. Usually I like to have some time to go through these things and make it, a thing. Saturday, we left for our trip up to New England later than I thought we were going to. And I was able to go through just a pile of little of envelopes of letters that people wrote to me, again, that I had saved for decades. I had a narrow window of time. I felt like, okay, I'll see what I can do here. And I was able to save some and easily let go of others in like an hour that was unexpected. Okay. So there we go. All righty. I actually did the same thing last January. Did get rid of some. So you are making progress. Danielle, do not throw shade on your progress. Notice your backseat driver. You're saying, hey, I actually did this. Notice the two people in your car. Everybody, we all have ourselves in the driver's seat, but man, do we have a co-pilot next to us who loves us, who's rocking on, saying, good job. We got a co-pilot in the back who's going to dim your brightness, okay? Danielle just spoke as if she were both of them because we are all both of them. She's like, hey, you know what? I noticed. This is co-pilot. I actually did the same thing last January, but I did get rid of some stuff. So you did it. You showed up, you looked at things, and you did extract what at the time, January of 2025, Danielle felt ready and able and comfortable with letting go of. So you did it last January. But notice, many of us have a very loud, very judgy backseat driver who doesn't want you to take credit for what you do. Hey, Laura Voorhees. So notice, she's feeling good in the front seat going, hey, check what I did. I got rid of some stuff last January. So maybe I can get rid of some stuff this February. It's not all a one and done, people. It's not. I am going through this myself and it's taken me months, but I don't judge myself about it. I trust that when I feel right to do it, I will do it. But notice Danielle quickly pipes up her backseat driver who's like, oh, no, you got barely anything, though. No, you didn't get rid of enough. And what I say, first of all, I lovingly flip the bird to the backseat driver, as you should too. But it's part of you. Start to engage with them and stop allowing them to have the last word. How about this? Everybody practice making sure that your co-pilot always has the mic drop moment in any interaction with your co-pilot and your backseat driver, your voice of love and encouragement and your voice of fear and discouragement and all that. Make sure that anytime those two are talking in you or you're writing it down, that the last word is always spoken by somebody in the front seat. If you let the backseat driver have the last word, you're not going to feel good. Okay? So remember, notice, she says barely anything, though. Danielle, I would love to hear from your backseat driver, or excuse me, your co-pilot, something to quiet down the backseat driver in the comments so that you end in the front seat. I would say something like, barely anything, but I would say every little bit helps. Every little bit helps. It's not like I got rid of nothing. Even one piece of paper from 1994. See, Melanie Evans is doing there. Melanie's like, hey, it's better than it was. It is. It's better by even a couple of pieces of paper. And you do that and you show up and you do a couple of pieces of paper, it will add up. Kind of like when I was hoping that Judy would show up on the live so we would go over our habit tracker. You put one thing in here and you say declutter for 5 minutes a day, that will add up by the end of the month. You will be less cluttered, even if you only show up 5 minutes a day. But that 5 minutes a day adds up, and don't let anybody tell you different. Okay? Because sometimes your backseat driver, we've been told that little bits don't count. Big things are the only thing that count, but big things can overwhelm, and big things can get us to say, I can't do anything. A little bit is always better than nothing. Danielle going into her office closet today and taking out one item pokes a hole in the narrative of I got nothing done, you know? Yeah. So you can rewrite the story. I didn't get anything done. Oh yeah, I did. I got that one piece of paper done. Do not let, this is going to be a good one. Do not let the backseat driver have the last word. Or on the flip side, same thing but different. Make sure that your co-pilot voice always has the last word. See, look at Danielle's co-pilot just, where's my microphone? Is like, co-pilot is like going to the back seat, taking the microphone from the, give me that. From the front seat, from the passenger side, I am making progress at my pace, and that's okay. Mic drop moment. Okay. And if somehow the backseat driver gets the microphone again and is like, yeah, but whatever, then your co-pilot looks and it says, give me that. Oh, yeah. So notice that. Okay. It's how, I mean, let's have fun with it, right? Why make it so like, don't let them have the last word. Everybody's been in a car with a bunch of people on a road trip. You don't want the stinker to have the last word, because then everybody ends up driving forward in a cloud of stink. What you want to do is you want to leave it on a good note. We are making progress. We will. Where's my map? I know we're only in Indianapolis and we need to get over here, but man, we are further away than we were. Let's keep on going. We just show up a mile at a time and we will get to destination Palm Springs, which is also the name of a shop. Okay. So have some fun with it. This is the way that I do this. It's like, I want to talk back to the little kid in the back seat and be like, you don't get the last word. You have backseat driven me into some really shitty times in my life. When I listen to you, I don't do the things I want to do, so I don't get practice doing them. I don't do things that I'm afraid of, so I don't get comfortable failing and learning and standing up again. And so I've listened to you for far too long, and it hasn't turned into the life I want. You know what I'm going to start to do is I'm going to start to quiet you down and then turn up, start listening for the more encouraging voice that also exists inside of me and outside of me. Because when I don't hear it for myself, if I hear other people say it, I can be like, yeah, that's right. And then I can imitate them. You know, Melanie gave Danielle the idea, it's better than it was. And your front seat passenger could be like, I'm not used to having the microphone, but hey, how about this? It's better than it was. Yeah, it's better than it was. Own it. Own it. Have some fun. Okay. Danielle, you're doing good stuff. You are doing good stuff, and you keep on showing up here. And your co-pilot is the person who encourages you and everybody here to show up on the TikTok lives and on the YouTube lives. And your co-pilot, who just wants to help you get to where you love your life, is also who gets you to sign up for coaching, who gets you to sign up for declutter parties, who gets you brave enough to ask questions and interact. So there's something about what's going on here that is causing you to show up, and you are making a difference. Even if it's just an hour or two every day, you learn some new vocabulary so that you can better quiet down your backseat driver and not let them have the last word like they may have. Okay? So I hope that helps everybody. Okay. Because that's what it's here. It helps me to remind myself to do that. So I hope it helps you. All right. So a couple of things as I'm switching gears, and especially because there's no comments. Yay, it helps. Okay, good. More questions, hit me with them. We got 14, 13 minutes because I have to sign off and I do coaching after this for the afternoon. I'm going to actually clear off my thing here. The other thing too, very randomly, my mother gave me a book yesterday. I know she doesn't watch me on YouTube. It'd be really funny because sometimes she does watch things on YouTube. She gave me a book. She thought of me. She gave me a book. I may flip through it. If it seems interesting, I will maybe read it. But if not, I'm going to give it away to somebody else. Okay. So, a couple of things. We have declutter parties. The declutter parties are listed and the tickets are available all through February. There are 9 of them. That's a wicked lot. Okay. There are consultation slots available if you want to do paid coaching. We can talk about that. Downloading and printing your habit tracker. I just put mine back here. You can do that. And the live schedule is up until this Friday. And later on this week, next week will be happening too. All right. It's so funny because that's Kat Roby is Let All Thrive. She delivered the lease and key. Check. She switched to the laundry. Check. She folded and put away the previous load. Check. And notice you're tiptoeing through the pile. So you're doing the easy stuff, but you're warming yourself up. How about this? Instead of just the piles, how about I am tiptoeing towards pile 1 and I am going to see if I can get through just one pile before the end of this YouTube live. How's that? Chunking it down. Melanie is saying, what have you found to be the top 3 best tools for organizing? Your head, your heart, and your hands on a pad of paper. That's all you need. Thinking, feeling, writing it down. That's all you need. Because those things will inform what you do after you've decided to do things. Okay? That's what I think. Patty M, concentrating an hour or 2 at a time helps. Yes, instead of thinking it as a never-ending task. Yeah, that's what I would call kind of step 4 in my steps. Step 4, chunking it down. Not saying, oh my God, I'm never going to get it done. This takes forever. Don't take your whole day decluttering. Unless you're feeling like you're in a groove, do not do that. Do it for a couple hours, then stop and shift gears and go have some fun. Okay? Kat Roby, okay, funny. You're here both times. So I'm so glad I have my late mother's address book. As an Air Force kid, I liked to know where we lived and found those spots in the world. Now that she's gone, I like to know the places she lived in Tucson. Yeah. Here's a crazy thing. When I was going through stuff in the attic of my parents' house, I came across something and I saved some of the sentimental stuff and I sent it over to my sister's house so she and I could go through it together. And one of the things she found was a book that our grandmother kept track of all the people that went to her husband's, our grandfather's funeral and what they brought. Now, yay for us finding that now, but man, it would have been cool to have found it earlier while my dad was still alive so we could have gone through it with him. Yay for finding it now, but it would have been nice to find it earlier. Okay. There we go. Kat Roby. I was in the other profile. That's okay. Chunk 1. Let's go. Yeah. And hand holding from this group. Oh, of course. Yep. Ooh, Melanie is going to shift gears because her clients are coming back 5 hours early. So notice that. How early am I ready for stuff? All righty. Grandma's Show 3528 says, I'm going through my sons. Okay. So I ask you, is your son alive or dead? If your son is alive, this is my MO. I think it's important to go through this stuff with the people whose they are. Do not declutter somebody's stuff for them unless you have their permission to do it and that they feel cool with whatever you decide to pitch. Many of us have experienced it when somebody else has thrown away our stuff without our permission. Why do you think we hold on to things? As we have done in the past. Notice I almost said as we do, but I'm distancing myself. My son had his own business and a lot of real estate things on his own. There's tons of paperwork. I just threw away a box full of the 90s. Oh, he passed on March 5th. Yeah. I have so much to go through. Yeah. So Grandma's Show, do you have help going through that stuff? Do you have help? Is there somebody else who could go through it? Even just sitting there and body doubling with you to make it easier for you so you're not feeling like you do it alone. Okay? My heart goes out to you, my dear. But yeah, notice what happens is um sometimes people die unexpectedly. There have been, no lie, in my life, luckily it's not the immediate core, it's a couple of concentric rings out. Last 7 days, 5 people have passed away. Kind of expected. I mean, technically, we all expect that we're gonna die sometimes, but it's abstract. There are people that I know now who are gonna be digging through and saying, "Man, this person left some stuff. I wish they had taken care of it earlier." Let's be those people who take care of our stuff now, so the people that we leave just have to grieve, and we've made things easier for them. Swedish death cleaning, anybody? Okay. So, Melanie D, bedding is in the wash, the dishes are washed, the counters are wiped down. Yeah. Why am I pretty Patty on some chats and grandma's shoe in 3528? I'll be honest, I have no idea. That's a question that you might ask for. I would ask, Chat GPT or Google. Why do I show up in different you may not be signed in? I don't know. I don't know. But that's a question above my pay grade. But if I wanted to find the answer, I don't just stop at somebody who doesn't know. I would just turn to I would turn to where it says, on Zoom, not Zoom, Google. And I would say, why do I show up in different usernames when I am chatting on YouTube? It will probably give you the answer. Okay. Now, Gina is saying about the death, and I feel like I talk about death a lot, but it's important because that is something that is happening around us, and it someday will happen to us. I want you to think of death as a motivator, okay? Knowing it is the only destination we all will get to. We just don't know when yet. So I say prepare for it now, and then you don't have to worry about as much later. That's why I am, prior to me turning 60, I plan on probably living to like 100, okay? Because other women in my family have done. Even if I only live till 80, I don't want to be going through this stuff when I'm tired and old. I just want to be sitting on the couch and reading a book. I enjoy going through this stuff now, and I am also not adding clutter to my life like I did back in my teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. Okay? So death is all around us. Your death is inevitable, as is mine. We think it happens to other people, but someday we're going to be the person who falls, and other people are going to be there having to pick up our mess. So sometimes when we don't do things for ourselves, it can encourage us to do stuff if we realize that what we are doing isn't selfish and just for ourselves, but it's going to benefit others. I am spending hours and hours of my own personal life here going through my parents' stuff because they didn't do it earlier and now can't do it because my dad is dead and my mother, she's distracted like nobody's business. I am doing this for me now, but I'm also doing it for my sisters. I'm doing it for the relatives. I am doing it now so that I don't have to do it when I'm any older than I am now, because every year we get older, I feel like we lose a bit of energy. So I am doing this at the youngest possible time in my life I can. Do that for yourself as well. Do it when your brain is the sharpest. Next year, we will probably have forgotten some things that we now, if we asked ourselves the question, we may remember it. I have learned to write these things down. What year did, some years I know that my dad passed in 2010. Do I remember what year my dog passed? I think it was 2019, but I better write it down. How old was I when this happened? I have to do the math. I have to write it down. Okay? So use our finite amount of time on the planet as a motivator. Okay, between my life right today and my death, what do I want to do so that one day before I die, I look back in the rearview mirror and I'm like, man, I had a great life. Man, I have so many awesome memories and very few regrets. A regret is a memory of something you didn't do. A memory is something you did do. So do the good stuff, okay? Do the good stuff. And some of the good stuff, frankly, is saying, I'm so glad I decluttered back in 2026, as opposed, or even frankly, honestly, I am so glad I did a lot of decluttering in February of 2026, because in July of 2026, I just want to be hanging out at the beach. I don't want to be stuck in the closet or stuck in the basement or stuck in the attic or stuck in the garage digging out stuff when the weather is nice. So get it done now. Let me help you now get it done. There we go. I love it, Kat Roby. Just before I sign off, because I'm going to sign off in a couple of minutes. Pile 1 done. Notice, Kat started this YouTube live with a list of things, and her fourth thing had 5 piles of paperwork. She has chunked it down. She's done all those things and one of those piles. So she's feeling good. Yep. Yes, and Lizzie Frisball, this is a great idea. I tend to write a timeline of my medical procedures and big lifetime events of my life, because there's too many dates to rely on my mind to remember. Yeah, and your mind, this is what I think of the brain. The human brain, up to a certain point, has the capacity to be a file cabinet, has the capacity to remember a certain amount of things. There is way too much going on in our current lives to only rely on the capacity of that filing cabinet. If things can no longer fit in the memory banks of your brain, you will forget them unless you write them down and use that as like an auxiliary, what do you call that? Like an external hard drive. Your pen and paper are basically your external hard drive. So use them to not overwhelm the storage part of your brain. And when you do that, when you don't have to worry about forgetting something because you've written it down, that allows your creative brain to help you create the life you want, because it's not so busy trying to stuff things in a folder. It's open and being like, hey, we got time and space. What kind of fun stuff do you want to create in this one crazy life you have? And I want to leave you with that. And I want you to write some stuff down. What are some cool things you want to get done, you want to make happen or happen in your life before you die? And you can learn how to do this by learning how to declutter your house. Swear to God. Swear to God. All right. But in the meantime, I'm gonna sign off now. So remember, we've got declutter parties, we've got TikTok lives, we got YouTube lives. There's opportunities for one-on-one coaching. There's habit trackers. All of that is available to everybody who has already joined the mailing list, because you've got the link to the secret page. If you want the link to the secret page and you're not on the mailing list, get on the mailing list. Go to destinationdecluttered.com. Scroll down to the bottom of the homepage, share your address with me. I'll share you the link, okay? But I'm going to sign off now, and I hope this was helpful. And remember, TikTok lives and YouTube lives are going to be recorded. I need to make the February playlist, but it will be done this afternoon, okay? I hope this helped. Go use what happened today and do something good with it, all right?